You've grown up hearing that love is supposed to hurt, that real passion feels like chaos, that the fire in your chest, the constant longing, the jealousy and fear, those are signs that it's real. But what if all of that is wrong? What if what you've been calling love is actually something else entirely, something darker, more desperate, hiding behind the pretty words of songs and movies? Carl Jung, a famous psychologist, talked about a difficult truth. When we become deeply attached to someone and then try to let go, the pain we feel isn't just heartbreak. It's not always love. Sometimes it's our inner wounds screaming out. It's the fear of being alone, the fear of not being enough, the fear of sitting with ourselves and not liking what we see. We think we're being loyal, devoted, romantic, but often we're just scared. That heavy feeling in your chest when they don't text back, that urge to check their social media over and over, that need to keep replaying conversations in your head, trying to figure out what went wrong. That's not love. That's anxiety. That's addiction. You may not be in love with them. You may be addicted to how they make you feel, or how they distract you from your own pain. In that case, they're not your soulmate. They're your escape. You've attached your sense of worth to their attention, and without it, you feel like you're crumbling. Jung saw this clearly. He said, "Where love rules, there is no will to power." But most relationships aren't ruled by love. They're ruled by need. The need to be validated. The need to feel chosen. The need to be seen because we don't know how to see ourselves. And when you build love on that kind of need, it becomes fragile. It becomes toxic. Because no matter how much someone loves you, they can't heal the parts of you you've rejected. Here's something hard to accept. The more you cling to someone out of fear, the more you damage the connection. Real love needs room to breathe. But if you're constantly holding on out of fear, afraid they'll leave, afraid you'll be left with yourself, you end up suffocating both of you. And then you wonder why it didn't work. You've been taught to confuse intensity with intimacy. You think that the drama, the fights, the high highs and low lows mean it's real. But real love doesn't feel like a storm. It feels like peace, like coming home. It doesn't drain you. It nourishes you. That crushing feeling in your chest, that's not love. That's possession. That's you trying to own someone because you're scared of losing them, and with them, your sense of self. You were told love is sacrifice, that love means losing yourself for someone else. But that's not love. That's fear in disguise. Jung talked about projection, the way we see people not as they truly are, but as we need them to be. We turn them into symbols. We use them to fill the emptiness inside us. We convince ourselves that they are the missing piece. But the truth is, we've built them up in our minds. We fall in love with the version of them that promises to make us whole. Not the real person, but the role we assign them. And no one can live up to that. No one can complete you because you were never meant to be completed by someone else. That's the biggest lie of all. That love will fix everything. That love will save you from your own emptiness. But that void you feel, it's not something anyone else can fill. Real love doesn't beg. It doesn't say, "Please don't leave me or I'll fall apart." Real love says, "I'm whole already. I choose you not because I need you to save me, but because I want to share myself with you." But to get there, you have to face yourself. You have to look at the parts of you you've been running from. The silence, the loneliness, the emptiness that echoes when you're alone. That's where the real work begins, not with the other person, but with you. You think it's love, that ache in your heart, that anxiety in your belly. But that's not love. That's attachment in its most raw and painful form. It's the kind of attachment that doesn't uplift, it consumes. You're not giving love, you're trying to get something from them: comfort, security, worthiness. Jung understood this shadow well. He saw how we turn our emotional hunger into devotion. We confuse possession with passion. We think the person we love is the answer to everything we've ever feared. But that's not fair to them or to ourselves. Look closer. Every time you text them out of panic, every time you give a gift hoping they'll love you more, every time you say, "I miss you," but really mean, "Please prove I matter," that's not love. That's fear. That's you asking them to fix something inside you. But here's the deepest truth. No one is abandoning you. You're the one abandoning yourself. Over and over again, you choose their attention instead of your own healing. You wait for their love instead of learning how to love yourself. And then you start to bargain. If I love them more, maybe they'll stay. If I hurt more, maybe they'll see how much I care. But that's not love. That's a trap. That's trying to turn crumbs into a feast with pure effort. Meanwhile, everything you truly need, your creativity, your dreams, your purpose, sits inside you, untouched. Attachment's cruelest trick is that it makes you think the pain is the proof, that the anxiety is intimacy, that losing yourself is just the price of love. But it's not. Real love doesn't ask for your soul in exchange. It doesn't ask you to shrink. It helps you expand. You've been taught to call hunger love and to call sacrifice loyalty. But it's time to stop. It's time to name the shadow for what it is. Not love's truth, but love's imposter. To heal, you have to turn inward. You have to love yourself through the fear, through the loneliness, through the silence. You have to stop running from the emptiness and start listening to it. The shadow doesn't disappear because you cling tighter. It fades when you let go. When you stop mistaking your pain for proof. When you stop confusing your need for devotion. And most importantly, when you remember that real love feels like coming home, not to someone else, but to yourself. That hollow place inside you, the one you're scared of, that's not your enemy. It's where the truth lives. It's the part of you that holds all the things you've refused to feel. It's not broken. It's honest. And nothing outside of you will ever fill it. Because it was never supposed to be filled by anyone but you. Jung called this the shadow, the parts of ourselves we hide because they're too painful to look at. But the more you hide from them, the more they control your life. You think you're searching for love, but really you're searching for a way to avoid yourself. That's why letting go feels like free falling. There's nothing left to grab. No one to cling to. Just you. And that's the scariest part, facing yourself without distraction. But that's where real freedom begins. When you stop looking for someone to complete you. When you stop performing, stop pleasing, stop begging to be chosen. When you sit with the silence and say, "This is me. I'm still here." Because in the end, what you fear isn't losing them. It's losing the idea that you were whole because of them. But you were never broken. You just forgot. The emptiness inside you, it's the place where all your masks fall away. Where you stop pretending. Where the truth shows up, even if it hurts. And yes, it will hurt. It might feel like you're staring into a black hole. But that's also where healing begins. Where real love starts. Not the kind that begs. The kind that stands tall. That says, "I choose you because I choose me first." No one really tells you this, but the emptiness you feel inside isn't empty at all. It's full, crowded, actually. Full of all the past versions of yourself that you've abandoned. Full of the dreams you told yourself were unrealistic. Full of the truths you stayed quiet about just to keep others comfortable. That deep, aching space inside isn't a void, it's a mirror. It's trying to show you everything you've hidden, everything you've run from. There comes a moment when you realize that your relationships, no matter how loving or chaotic, were often a way to escape yourself. They gave you something to focus on, something to chase, so you wouldn't have to look within. But that aching, that longing, it never really left. It just lingered under the surface, quietly humming through every conversation, every kiss, every night you couldn't sleep. It waits for you to stop running. Eventually, you reach a point where you can't avoid it anymore. This is the moment of reckoning. You stop pretending. You stop distracting yourself. You sit down, maybe for the first time, and ask, what if the love I've been searching for all this time was never out there? What if it was always meant to come from me? That question can break you open. But it's also where your healing begins. The emptiness you feel isn't a curse, it's an invitation. It's not trying to punish you. It's asking you to come home to yourself, to stop trying to find pieces of you in other people and start gathering them from within. Because here's the truth, you were never broken. You were never truly missing anything. You just forgot to look inward. When you try to detach from someone who once felt like air to you, it's not easy. Your body will react like it's in danger. It will cry out for just one more message, one more glimpse of their face, one more memory to relive. It won't feel like heartbreak, it'll feel like withdrawal. Because in many ways, it is. Love, especially the kind tied to fear or insecurity, can feel like a drug. You get high off their attention, crash when they pull away. Your brain learns to depend on them for emotional survival. When they're gone, your body panics. But this isn't a sign of weakness. It's biology. You've wired yourself to connect your self-worth to them. And now that you're pulling away, your system is freaking out. This stage is brutal. You'll think about calling them. You'll make deals with yourself. Just one last talk, one last message. You'll tell yourself that maybe it was all a mistake. You'll scroll through old texts, play back old laughs, remember only the best parts. That's not love talking. That's addiction. It's your body begging for the hit it's used to. But here's something most people don't say. The pain is part of the healing. Every moment you resist the urge to reach out, you're rewiring your brain. Every tear you cry instead of texting them is you taking your power back. The shaking hands, the nausea, the tightness in your chest, these are not signs that you're failing. They're proof that you're growing, that you're detoxing from something you once thought you couldn't live without. Addiction wants comfort. Transformation demands discomfort. That's the deal. You're not losing them. You're losing the version of yourself who thought you needed them to survive. And yes, that part of you is dying. But what comes after is rebirth. There will come a morning, maybe sooner than you think, when you wake up and they're not your first thought. The memories will still be there, but they won't sting. You'll hear a song and won't flinch. You'll laugh and realize their absence didn't ruin the moment. That's the shift. That's when you realize you weren't tied to them by love. You were tied by fear, by habit, by unhealed wounds. And now, those ties are loosening. This is when the real magic begins. Not when you forget them, but when you remember yourself. When you start believing that you can stand on your own, that you can live and love and laugh, not from a place of needing someone, but from a place of wholeness, of choice. Because love isn't supposed to be a lifeline. It's supposed to be a gift, something freely given, not something you beg for, not something you trade your self-worth to receive. When you begin to choose yourself daily, even when it's hard, that's when you start becoming whole again. One breath at a time. One brave no at a time. One sleepless night that you survive on your own. You'll feel it when the storm starts to pass. When the silence no longer scares you. When being alone doesn't feel like punishment, but peace. When you realize that the chains weren't around your heart, they were around your vision, around your ability to see your own value. And now they're breaking. You will love again, but not from lack, from fullness. You'll love without losing yourself. You'll love without shrinking. You'll stand in front of someone and say, "This is me." Not the me you want me to be. Not the me that pleads. Just me, and it will be enough. The people who were drawn to your brokenness may fall away. Let them. That version of you isn't here anymore. The people who stay, the ones who meet you in your strength, those are the ones who matter now. They won't try to complete you. They'll celebrate your completeness.